Scott. We are volunteers at 42nd Street Change Ambassadors. Welcome to the 2026 Manchester Youth Conference. We are so excited to have you here today.
This conference is proudly brought to life by the Manju Shahul-Hameed Foundation for Mental Health. The Foundation's core mission is to promote emotional well-being, provide vital resources, and eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health in our communities. To keep this support alive and consistent, the host impactful monthly events such as 4 dementia cafes, coffee with mental health counsellor, feeding 100 homeless people, and wellness workshops that provide safe spaces for education, reflection, and healing.
Organising today's event is a major part of that mission. This is actually one of 5 youth conferences being rolled out nationally. The foundation kicked off this incredible journey with the first 2 landmark conferences held at the House of Commons and the House of Lords. And we are incredibly proud that today in Manchester marks the very first of their regional youth conferences.
Whether you're a young person, a community leader, a teacher, a mentor, a business, or someone just passionate about making a difference, thank you for showing up. This conference was built for one clear reason: to amplify the voices of young people, especially those who felt locked out of opportunities or left unheard.
It is about breaking cycles of violence, of exclusion, of feeling there is no way forwards, and showing that there is a path to something better. Throughout the afternoon, you'll hear stories, take part in discussions, and hopefully connect with people that want to walk that journey with you.
Over the next 2 hours, we're diving into some massive topics: entrepreneurship, mental health, and community leadership. But this isn't a lecture. We want you to be part of the conversation, not just sitting in the audience.
You'll get to jump into roundtables, interactive workshops, and connect directly with the organisations ready to back your ambition. We want you leaving today with fresh ideas, new tools, and the confidence to own your own future.
To get things officially started, we're incredibly honoured to welcome Tony Letts, OBE, who is the chair of the charity Manju Shahul-Hameed Foundation for Mental Health. She is a dedicated champion of community empowerment and social justice, who has spent decades advocating for vulnerable groups and creating systematic opportunities for the next generation.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good
It is wonderful to be here, I have to say that. And I do thank very, very much the Phoenix group for funding today, and that was very, very important. It's the Phoenix way, isn't it, for young people? And it's great to have so many young people here today. I'm very old, so I'll try not to waffle, but old people do waffle about the past, etc. But you're the future. I want to say to the young people here, you are the future. You are tomorrow's leaders, whether it be in politics. So learn about politics, whether it's in politics, business, teaching, whatever. You are tomorrow's leaders. We won't be around. So you're vitally important. Don't let anyone ever tell you you are not important, because you are. You are going to continue building this country and parts of the world, together with planning a different future, maybe, looking after the elderly, looking after little ones, children, making them excited about their future. I won't go on about AI, because people get upset with me, because I'm actually, with young people, I actually believe it'll actually make more jobs available. Everyone says no, it won't. I believe it will. I really do believe it will. And I'm going to stop there, because I've always worked with young people. I believe in young people. And for those who don't believe in themselves, you start believing in yourself. And, you know, and enjoy life. Enjoy life. Pick a career or a job, whatever. Go in there, sell yourself to whoever's doing the interview. Because you're the best commodity they have. So do, go in there, sell yourself and tell them you want to be there, you want to grow their company. It is great to see so many of the young people here. And Ros is going around checking on everybody that they're here. She's a lovely lady and a very dear friend. So on that, I'm going to hand you back to our hosts. That's so wonderful.
Thank you for that, Tony Letts. That was wonderful. We also welcome Councillor Dr. Manju Shahul-Hameed, the visionary founder who runs the foundation behind today's event. She is a dedicated, long-serving councillor and a historic former Mayor of Croydon, who has spent years successfully leading community-driven initiatives and working tirelessly to bridge the gap between policy and grassroots mental health supports.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? Okay. How are you all? Good? Feeling good? Great. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming along and being part of this amazing celebration of young people. As we have heard from our fantastic host, so we have, the charity has started our journey 8 years ago, and I was a software engineer by profession, but I left the job after my mayoral year to set up the charity because there is a lot of stigma about mental health in our communities. We have for the young people, so we have had 2 youth conferences already, one at House of Commons, the other one at House of Lords, and now the 3rd one is here in Manchester. So we're going to have our 4th one. We have our fantastic MP here as well, Afzal Khan. Thank you. So give him a round of applause, please. So the 4th one is going to be in Leeds on the 3rd of July, and the 5th youth conference will be in Birmingham. Aston Villa has given us the space, so it will be at Villa Park. So we have the 5 conferences, and after the 5 conferences, we're going to listen to all our young people, get the data, and we're going to be producing a final report, and the launch of that report will be at House of Commons in November, and I will be inviting some other representative of the organization who are here. But then really wanted to thank everyone who made today possible. And I just wanted to introduce some of the organization and the individuals who made today possible. Chemo, can I ask you to stand, please? Oh, come here, please. Thank you.
Chemo is our star.
He is. And I read a lot about Chemo, and I met him through Powerhouse, but what an amazing personality Chemo is. So thank you for bringing the young people from your organization. You're fun. Can I ask you to come here as well, please? Thank you for making this possible and also bringing the young people. We have Mary, you're here. I called Mary earlier on and she was on her way. Thank you so much. We met through Phoenix Wave. Phoenix Wave is our funder for this afternoon. And thank you for bringing the young people. And we have Katie, please. From 42nd Street and down the road. Yeah? So, no, yeah. So not far from here. Again, thank you so much for bringing the young people. And we have one more organization, but where is your, I think she's not, Shanika? She nipped up from She nipped, okay, Shanika is not here, but their young people is here. So thank you so much to all these organizations for making today possible. And the 2 young hosts we have, they are from 42nd Street. And then all I want to say is enjoy the afternoon. We have fantastic packed agenda. We have the MP and we have all the speakers, in which you're going to hear later on. I really wanted to thank all the speakers for their time on a Saturday afternoon, for being here and spending the time with our young people. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Once again, a huge thank you once again to Tony Letts and Councillor Dr. Manju Shahul-Hameed for those incredible words. Please, let's give them all another round of applause.
Absolutely. What a fantastic way to set the tone for the rest of our event. But the momentum doesn't stop here. Moving on to our next segment, we're incredibly honoured to welcome our next guest to the stage.
Manchester's own Afzal Khan MP. He is a trailblazing lawmaker and a powerful voice for equity, who has dedicated his career to community cohesion and championing youth advancement in the national stage.
Mr. Khan, as you take the stage to officially launch our proceedings, we would be absolutely honoured if you would officially launch the report from the House of Commons Youth Conference for us today. The stage is yours.
Oh, well, wonderful. Can I say, first of all, thank you very much for the kind introduction. It's always a pleasure to be here and to see so many of you here. It's an amazing subject. I want to thank, first of all, the Manju Shahul-Hameed Foundation for the incredible work that you've been doing, not only today, but the work that you've done in the Parliament and the number of years that you've been going as well. But I love the fact that you're going to go around in the regions, and you've chosen Manchester, and in Manchester, this amazing constituency of mine and this Powerhouse. The word itself tells you, Powerhouse. So this is an incredible place where so much activities goes on. But what I'm delighted today is, you've already seen some of those great people who do this amazing work in this area. But the subject that you're dealing with, I think, is also important. And I'm also delighted, actually, to launch this report as well. It's an excellent report giving us lots of good information, lots of ideas, and a lot of action for the government too. Because ultimately, we all have to be in a partnership, whether it's individual or whether it's a local level or it's a national level. Working together, we can make a difference. We can improve things. On the issue of young people and this mental health issue, I would say this. You know, it's, at one level, it's incredible, the time that we are living in. The time we are living in is that there is so much going on. I was just now at Salford Quays where they're having a dragon race. Now, the dragon race is a Chinese idea where you come together, you work as a team. That's the only way the boat will go forward, because if you're paddling in the different directions, you don't get anywhere. And the idea of working together and moving forward is there, and they've had this idea thousands of years. Thousands of years they've been going on this. But again, you see, the message is here that it was here in Salford Quays that they were celebrating. They've been doing this for 14 years, and every year it's getting better and better. And that is again the message of cooperation. And with it, I thought that one of the key messages for us is, you know, a boat, and when we're in Manchester in the coat of arms, you also have a ship, the sailing, that is what moving. And the point I really want to say was, we're lucky to be born in this day and age where that we have so much movability, where we can move so easily. And not only that, we can communicate so easily, instantly with one another. But hey, it's also giving us a lot of issues. This social media, this mobile in our palm of our hand, and the impact it has mentally on us as well. So for us to work together, being able to deal with those challenges in order to make sure that young people are given those opportunities is important, because today's young people actually have got so much pressure. They've never had it before. And this is why really having an event like this, having an organization like yours, and looking at it and seeing, and I'm hoping next week, Monday, the Prime Minister and the government will be making some more announcements, which will be helping in some of these issues and challenges that we are actually facing. But I'm pleased to launch this report, I'm pleased to be here, and I'm pleased that we're doing things for young people. Because of the challenges they're facing, by us being with them, helping them, providing them different opportunities, so much can happen. Because if you don't, the cycle can also get them further down. And that again is not in anybody's interest. So let's work together, let's look after our young people, let's give them the opportunities, because when you do give opportunities to young people, they can achieve amazing things. We all have an incredible ability as humans. And I always give, I'll finish with this with my own example. You know, I left school, and I usually say, I left school with 9 no levels. I never passed any exams. I never passed any exams. My first job was a laborer in a cotton mill. Then I worked and did different things. Different people gave me opportunities. I learned, understood. Then ultimately did a law degree. I became a qualified solicitor. I was a policeman. Then I was a partner in a law firm. And then I became the first Asian Lord Mayor of this wonderful city. And then defeated Nick Griffin, the BNP leader, those who have a message of division. Yeah, hate. And I went to the European Parliament. From European Parliament I came back and then to the British Parliament. I did 5 different shadow minister positions. Shadow Minister for Immigration, for Justice, Foreign Office, Deputy Leader of the House, Trade. If I can do all those, every one of you can do better than me, and that's the whole idea of being working together, giving those opportunities. Let's work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Afzal Khan MP, Tony Letts OBE, and Councillor Dr. Manju Shahul-Hameed for those inspiring words. It is clear that change starts when communities come together, and that is exactly what we are doing today.
Now we are diving into our next keynote speech. This next session is all about something many of us are thinking right now. How do we create opportunities for ourselves, even when the odds feel stacked against us?
Joining us next is Nick Lynch, a dedicated Barclays Local Specialist who works right at the heart of our communities to champion youth development and financial liberty. He brings years of hands-on experience in delivering the transformative Barclays Life Skills and Money Skills programs to empower the next generation with real-world tools for success.
I've had a lot worse warm-up acts over the years, honestly, I tell you, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to be in front of so many engaged minds, so many potential. I can feel the potential like washing over me already here. So I'm just going to get up a couple of my slides to show you today, but really the meat of this whole day is when we get out amongst the tables and when we start discussing it as a unit. I'm really here as a keynote speaker just to kind of say, hey, Barclays are here, so if you want to come and talk finance, no, it's not what I do. I don't talk finance, I talk real money skills, I talk real engagement with young people, giving young people financial well-being, because financial well-being and mental health go together. If you are, I'm not saying good with money, it's almost impossible to be good with it, but if you are confident with it, it's money confidence that I teach, and being able to kind of understand where things work for you and be able to engage with your financial start, and also make sure that you have a strong foundation in improving your financial resilience as well, because some of these things in our life financially change without our control, and it's up to you to understand being able to integrate what you can control and not worry so much about what you can't. So, let me just get up my slides. There we go. Okay, so, right, bit of background first. I've only got a few minutes to talk today, so I don't want to take up too much time. So, bit of background about me. I am the Community Engagement Specialist for Barclays in the Northwest. It started on Merseyside, my role, and it became something of a quite a unique role. Sorry for the flashing screen, they're not sure why that's happening. The tech always lets me down when I start talking. So, are we going to stay on? No, it's okay. So, I do try and get out into communities as often as I can. I use my Barclays bus. I drive my bus around into communities. I go to schools. I do primary, secondary schools, life skills in schools. I teach a lot of financial well-being, because they say our understanding of money starts from the age of 7. So from that age, we are expected to understand about pounds and pence and things like that, but also how to use maths in our daily life as well. When we learn maths in school, we wonder, am I ever going to be able to apply this in my day-to-day life? And that's what I talk about when I go into schools, to make sure kids have an understanding of how things fit in, how percentages fit in, how fractions fit in, and how to make sure we work out things for our own benefit. So I go around in my bus. My bus is a great visual tool as well. I take that into communities that don't have face-to-face banking presences. So to provide them with a physical approach to banking. They come on board my van. We'll talk a lot about how it engages with the community as well. So I do apologise for the screen. So what I'd like to talk to you about today is the Life Skills platform. That is obviously what I represent. I've been working for Barclays for 16 years. The Life Skills platform has been around for about 10 to 12 years. I've done a lot of call centre work for Barclays. That's my main experience was in our call centre in Liverpool. I dealt with a lot of different customers. But I also dealt with our financially vulnerable when I worked in our kind of like a fraud team or our vulnerable customer team, when customers would call me with problems. Now, often I could help with those problems, but I'd rather prevent those problems from happening in the first place. And by going out into communities like this, that prevents those from happening. So I do a lot of money skills talks with councils, a lot of fraud and scam awareness as well with the older generation. But more and more younger people are coming to my fraud and scam awareness sessions. Things like money mules, people being given money from victims of crime, proceeds of crime, people being given money to look after for a certain period of time for a fraudster, and the kind of pitfalls that can happen with that, the easy money jobs, the social media approaches for fake investments and things like that. These are targeted at young people, and this is what I try to prevent when I talk about fraud and scam awareness. I do a lot of work with the police, I do a lot of work in Merseyside. The reason why I'm here today is I'm looking to spread my wings into the Manchester area. Manchester is really a bit of an unknown area for me, so I'm looking to connect with as many people around here to talk about what I offer, because everything I offer is free. It is for everybody, okay? And when I go and work in schools, I leave them the life skills logins, the life skills details to say, listen, I can't be everywhere, but you are here serving your community. Why don't you use our platform, which I'm going to show you now. So, to access the Life Skills platform, you just need to go on to Google and type in Barclays Life Skills. It works on obviously any device. It's not an app. We try not to have apps because there's apps for everything these days. So it is a proper website. And so as you can see at the top, there's two different ways. So if you're an educator, so if you're working in a charity or you're working in a school, I'm here to help others. If you are a learner yourself, because don't forget there's modules here from as young as 7. So if you are a learner yourself, I'm here to help myself. So we'll look at both of those today. So say you were an educator, I'm here to help others. So you would choose the modules of where your young person is in their life. So it would be lessons if you were working in a school. And then you have our categories, the age range, whether you've got SEND members of so any neurodiversity as well, you can make sure that the modules that you get shown are bespoke to them as well. So we try and make it as inclusive as possible. Also, there's care leavers as well, so people coming out of care get that support. And the categories are amongst these ones. So building key skills to do well at work, changing career, finding parent for employment, improving digital skills, and so on. So what if you wanted to understand and manage money as a young person or be educated on that? Here are the modules. Maths in everyday life is one of my favourites. Maths was my weakest subject at school. You wouldn't believe that, would you? Working in a bank for 16 years, maths was something I really struggled with. So what did I do? Drama. That's right. Try and get far away from maths as possible. I'm on a stage right now, so drama has worked out for me, okay? But I've got a degree in English as well, so I've got quite a few different things going on, but if this was around when I was in school, I probably wouldn't have messed around in dead-end careers for so long until I found my calling at Barclays. But even then, as I was talking before, I started at Barclays in the call centre, and I was like, I'll give this a go for a couple of weeks and see how I get on. 16 years later, I'm stood in front of you guys. So that's how it kind of works. But yeah, maths in everyday life. And then recognising skills for success in the workplace, planning budgets, credit and debt. That's a really popular one. It shows you the age range as well. So age of 5. Okay, this has modules for as young as that. So I did the counting money session yesterday. So let's take a look perhaps at the maths in everyday life. So each module is divided into the length of time it takes to actually deliver it. So you can plan your lesson around that. And you can also have a look at the individual plans here when delivering the lesson. And you can download that to your laptop or to your phone, and it breaks down individual objectives for the session. So rather than trying to see how you get on, it's actually quantifiable learns from it, and there's actually a goal for each single one, and it talks you through it. So you don't need to have an educating background. I never was a teacher. I never have any education training, but yet I can deliver this because it's so well laid out. We have the best. I know I'm biased, okay, but Lloyd's offer a similar one, NatWest offer a similar one. We have the most bespoke and the most engaging, I feel. And here we go. Great question for young people that I get asked a lot. AI, budgeting apps and calculators mean I don't need maths when it comes to managing my money. True statement, absolutely. When was the last time you worked something out in your head? When there's a calculator right there. My teacher used to say to me, you're going to have a calculator all the time. I beg to differ, you know. You're not going to be able to get access to these things. So, true or false, things like that. So that's just one of the very modules in there, but it also comes with a presentation as well, built into that. So the presentation is quite engaging as well. So maths in everyday life so you can do these handouts. So it's interactive, it's not just teaching, it's interactivity as well. But it's not just about financial literacy. There's also a lot of wellbeing skills and employability skills on here. There's CV writing, interview techniques, building your personal brand, dealing with change, being proactive. So it's not necessarily just about, here's to learn about money, here's to learn about numbers. It's holistic around a wellbeing perspective on how to deal with a lot of life's curveballs. But if we go back to the stars, and if we have a look at, say, you're here to help yourself, you choose the stage of life you're at, school, college, university, think starting your first job. So say most of you guys are probably at college age, things like that, we choose college. And then here are all the modules. And you can break it down to the different, I want to choose my next step. I think everybody thinks that. I want to choose my next step. Maybe I'll find my next step today. Maybe that's where I'll get there. Maybe that's where that fire will light in me today. It just needs that spark and those embers to be encouraged by everybody sat around here today. So say I want to choose my next step. It's very, very, very wide, but Barclays Life Skills will help you hone in on that one. Wheel of Strengths. This is what I wanted to show you. This is one of my favourite things, and I talk about this to every educator that I work with. The Wheel of Strength takes the guesswork out of finding a career for yourself. What do? I know I've got these skills, but there's so many jobs out there. How do I be more specific about what I want? Or I have a dream. What skills do I need to meet that dream? So it's both ends of the spectrum. So in the Wheel of Strength, you choose between 2 and 7 skills to add them to your wheel. So, for example, analytical organisation, is that a skill that you have? Presenting, I have that skill, as you probably tell, or maybe not. Teamwork as well. So you can put 2 and 7, and then if you're not sure what any of them mean as well, you can also get some definitions. Next, 2 to 7, interests as well. So what are you interested in? So finance, for example, environment, science, travelling and languages perhaps. So massively unrelated, but let's see what it gives us. And then personality traits. What kind of a personality do you have? So patient perhaps, enthusiastic, maybe integrity is another. And it spins the wheel around. And it gives you career paths based on what you've put in. geologist, administrator, land surveyor. So say I wanted to be a geologist, say that was my career. I would click on the link here and it would tell me what qualifications I need and how to get in there as well. And it would link to the National Careers Database to show you live opportunities in that role directly. Also, if you didn't quite meet, if you wanted to open up a wider range of job roles, go down here, there's some more skills that you would need to develop to get there as well. So, for example, say you wanted to be an accountant, well actually you need to focus on these skills around things like staying positive. So things like geologist and things, where can you find and what are the routes to this? So yeah, the wheel of strength, I try and leave it with every educator that I work with. So yeah, that is kind of everything that I wanted to kind of talk to you about, guys, about today. Barclays Life Skills is always evolving, it's always changing, just like us, we're always changing, adapting. The message I kind of want to leave with you is staying positive is probably one of the most difficult things to do in the face of change. Having a positive mental attitude is what I try and face every single day. And I've never done this job before. I'm the first to ever do it. It's difficult to know whether I'm making a difference when you can't ask someone else how it worked before you, because you were the first one. And I find that positive mental attitude, dealing with that change, dealing with being flexible with my approach to something. Working on a Saturday for a start, thanks Manju for that one. Working on a Saturday, I was like, shall I work a Saturday? I don't normally. Let's work a Saturday and let's work in Manchester. Let's get out of my comfort zone and let's see what difference we can make today using that positive mental attitude. Because I could have easily said, oh, sorry, I've worked 5 days this week. I can't work a 6th. It's not what it's about. It's about seeing the positivity and what you'll get out of it and the difference it can make as well to those communities. So if you'd like what I've said today, please engage with me. Okay, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about your journey. I'd also love to hear whether you would benefit from the Barclays Life Skills platform or whether you'd like me to come into your school to give a talk. Everything is free. It's for everybody. Okay, and I'd love to break into more Manchester schools and colleges because that is really north of the wall for me. Thank you very much. Okay, appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Nick. That is a truly incredible presentation you gave.
For the day. But now it's time to move into listening and into doing.
That's right. The next segment is what the conference is all about, our roundtable discussions. This is your space to share your personal experiences, voice your ideas, and talk about how we can collectively break down the barriers holding young people back.
So we've already broken down the discussions into 4 massive categories, 4 vital topics today, and you'll find one of them at your table. First, we're looking at overcoming educational barriers, because everyone deserves a fair shot at learning. Secondly, we're diving into promoting mental health and emotional well-being, breaking the stigma around asking for help.
Third, we are tackling the big conversations around encouraging alternatives to crime and antisocial behaviour, focusing on real opportunities instead. And finally, we're talking about cultivating supportive and positive peer networks, because who you have in your corner is what really matters.
And just remember, everyone, there's no wrong answers here, and every single perspective in this room is valuable. So lean in, speak your truth, and let's get those conversations started. There are facilitators for each table, and can you find one person from each table to report back at the end?
And just before we break up, I would just like to give I'd just like everyone to give a applause to the hard-working photographers who did all those amazing photos.
Thank you. On to the discussions.
So, for that table, can we find a facilitator, please? So, would you like to be? Yeah, thank you. So, can you find one person to report back from this table? So, your topic is mental health and well-being. Oh, Dr. Roshelle, do you want to come here, my darling? So, this table, what do we have, my darling? Pathways away from, would you like to be? Yeah. Yeah. So, Kimo, which table would you like to be, my darling? So, you're together. So, Rose, yeah. So you have number 2, again, mental health and well-being topic. Yeah, please. Yeah. So then we can have a report back. We'll be recording it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you will report back, yeah? All right, thank you. So this table, Mary, are you happy to, do you need a facilitator? So you have a discussion on pathways away from crime and antisocial behavior. You sit here? Okay, yeah. You okay too? And are you happy to report back? Yeah? All right then, so have a discussion. So we got the bullet points to discuss as well for that topic. And then Katie, so you have overcoming educational challenges. So we have the young people, and do you have somebody to report back? We have some experts here, isn't it? So yeah, you'll choose somebody to report back. Chemo, you happy to support them? So you go overcoming, yeah, okay. And what about, do you need a facilitator, my darling? Chemo, can we bring them to this table? Or do you want to come here? So, yeah, maybe this table. Yeah. Would you like to come here?
Representatives of Group A, what was your topic again?
So our topic was mental health and well-being, and we split the three questions just into two big areas, one about barriers and one about possible ways to try and navigate that.
Sounds interesting.
We can break down these barriers by talking about talking to trusted adults who can be friends, teachers, or parents. People can learn about mental health through fun and educative videos online, like in YouTube. We also talked about mental health, the word having negative views on. Schools can have their students take quizzes about mental health. Relatable stories can help people connect to it.
Some of our solutions.
Barriers that are stopping young people from talking about mental health are social expectations, social media, and adults thinking that the young people don't understand. And on average, 6 out of 10 of young people being able to share when 0 being good and 10 being bad about being able to share was 6 out of 10.
Let's give a round of applause to Group A. All right, Group B, do you and your representatives want to come over here? Yeah, sorry guys, you have to come over here just because they want to record it.
Didn't even see. Thanks very much. So our topic was around pathways away from crime and antisocial behaviour. What's available in this area? What's around that can mean that people don't turn to crime or don't turn to antisocial behaviour? Giving young people something to do that feels beneficial, volunteering, helping out. And so I didn't catch your name.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel is a budding actor. Emmanuel is probably the most vocal person on the table. We had a very vocal table over there, by the way, from a mix of areas they were from. Now, as I said before, it's all new to me, this area, but we did speak about things like knife crime was one of the biggest things that came from this area. And topic number was 3, sorry. Topic number 3. So we did speak about knife crime being something that was quite prevalent, antisocial behaviour orders as well. Not necessarily drugs, not necessarily gangs. So there is a stereotype that kind of works when it comes to kind of vulnerable areas, and everyone kind of gets tarred with the same brush. But I'd like Emmanuel to speak about street doctors, which he really was passionate about. So please, Emmanuel, after you.
All right. We spoke about how the street, so many organizations around Manchester has helped in coming up with preventive measures to reduce the amount of crime rate that happens around Manchester, especially knife crime, which is very prominent around Manchester. So organizations like the Street Doctors, of which I'm part of, and I got to join here in the Powerhouse building, was a lot of sessions that help young people get to know about first aids that can help prevent someone from bleeding out in case of a knife crime event that happens. So he also went on to deliver those sessions around Manchester, because after they train you here, you get a certificate, but then you can also take more sessions with them where they train you on how to deliver those sessions to other people around Manchester. So you go to colleges, you go to high schools, and events around Manchester in order to train other people as well. So I'm actually privileged to be one of the first people in Powerhouse to partake in such organization. Yeah.
Round of applause for Emmanuel for that. Absolutely. Brilliant. Something I'd never heard of, really, but massively useful as well. So street doctors bringing down knife crime from the inside, which I think is great, and raising everybody up. So fantastic. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Once again, thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Powerhouse, for the Street Doctors service, and thank you, Group B, for your amazing work. Let's give them a round of applause, people. All right, Group C. Do you want to come over there? Group C, do you want to come bring some representatives? Excellent. Would you please say the number of your question and the topic, please?
The number of the question we got is 2, mental health and wellbeing. So the young people spoke about what it is to stop young people, what is the barriers to stopping young people from talking about mental health in the community. So the young people said stigma, feeling judged, feeling like they will be bullied. you want a bit louder? Oh, sorry. I don't like mics, but okay. Thinking that they can handle it alone. Their social group, trying not to seem like they want to stand out. They feel like social media influences young people from talking about mental health. Knowing who to talk to, not feeling confident. They also talk about the cultural barriers. Some cultural groups do not identify as having mental health issues. So some parents may say, you're being dramatic. So stigma attached to that. Also, as well as feeling like there isn't no one to talk to, feeling depressed and not wanting to overshare and feeling like they can handle it alone. Then the next thing we discussed is the barriers. How can we remove these barriers? Hanging around with positive people, early interventions into school. A lot of the young people said that mental health gets discussed when they are in secondary school, and we feel like if you start earlier, it's something that can be addressed earlier. So starting conversations in primary rather than secondary. More bespoke interventions for staff to be trained to identify when young people are having these crises. More cultural understanding workshops within particular social groups, and more work to be completed with parents. What can professionals do to support young people with this barrier? Again, more training for staff, more services that identify these barriers earlier rather than later. We also got given a second sheet, which is about which is question 4, building positive social networks. The young people were asked to identify them. They identified the community centres, places of worships, activities such as football. This young man goes horse riding. I'm not sure how many of you will go horse riding. Not a lot. And also singing groups, they said choirs, different social groups like this group that they run here in the Powerhouse, and positive influences. The next question was, do you see them as positive influences on young people? They said yes, and they said what are the barriers? They said poverty, parents, social groups, barriers in language, peer pressure, stereotypes of services, and not knowing where to go to access different things, stigma attached to different groups, fear of not fitting in when they join a new group. So that was our 2.
Excellent. Can we give a round of applause for Group C and their answers? Group D, do you want to come over with your representatives? Remember to give the number of your question and the topic. Here you go.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Damian and this is?
Favour.
Our question was number 3, so pathways away from crime and antisocial behaviour. We were asked what's on offer in and around Croydon. None of us have been to Croydon, so we talked about Rochdale instead. And it was my new best friends on this table, all part of the Nigerian Community Centre work in Rochdale, so I was fascinated to hear what it was like growing up and living in Rochdale. Our crew was a little bit younger than this table over here, so we had an age-appropriate conversation, which was started with what's good about where you live. And I was thrilled to hear about all the phenomenal work that takes place and just how safe you generally feel and how happy you feel and how school is a wonderful place to be. And we had a really, really positive conversation around that. When I asked them what would make it better where they lived, I heard lots of things like your suggestion was?
Security.
Yeah. And public transport.
Yeah, buses.
More public transport, safer public transport, which I think is a really, really, really important thing. We wanted more youth clubs, more youth facilities. They were amazed by the Powerhouse here, and you're very lucky to have this in your community. And we need more of that, I guess, everywhere, including in Rochdale. More football clubs, just things for young people to do. We also talked about the police very specifically, and I think a feeling from the table that the police could maybe do more to build trust with people and with communities and be more visible. And when obviously you need the police, that they're there to support and work with you. I think that was everything. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Mental health is not talked about much, and I feel like people of this age are battling with things like depression and anxiety. And I think we need to build relationship with parents and teachers more clubs to join after school.
school for social awareness. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, group Table D. Thank you for that amazing adaptation. We are now going to move over to Group E. Yeah, we're going around that way. Yeah, so if you'd like to give your number and your question.
It was really good to work with this group over here. They're from Rochdale. It was good to hear their experiences of some of the things that they thought was going on in their area. So yeah, welcome to Powerhouse. It was really good to see the differences as to what up in Rochdale compared to what happens here. So the first question was overcoming educational challenges. The first question. I'll let him speak.
Hello everybody, my name is Juan Kazim. I'm one of the youth members who came to visit Powerhouse today. It's been a pleasure experiencing what is happening so far. For who can people For who can students speak to? Young students can speak to teachers, caretakers, safeguarding, support staff, head of year, ambassadors, and head teachers. Basically anyone in the vicinity to speak to, and people who they personally trust. Are there particular place to speak to the staff? Students can speak to the staff in offices, quiet spaces, or in the safeguarding office. Any place where they could feel safe and secure from any harm. Other schools' issues are the teachers leaving and the lack of knowledge. Some schools are going on strike, meaning the students are getting lack of knowledge. One of the students, are a victim of this. And since I'm in year 10 and my GCSE is coming up next year, I worry that there might not be enough knowledge given to other year 10s in my school. Things schools need to do. There should be a more extended time of lunch. 4 periods in a single day, constant work, and only short amount of breaks seems a little bit unfair. Don't you agree? And with the little amount of breaks, I feel like they should increase it. Multiple hours of students and little amount of breaks. I feel like they should increase it, since the little amount of breaks, it will personally exhaust the student's mind, thus decreasing their performance in classes. And every school wants the performance to exceed greatly in value. There should be longer school days, and like I explained earlier, with short breaks, there should be longer days. Those two contrast against each other. Longer days mean more knowledge given, and like I said earlier about the school issues, teachers are leaving and there's lack of knowledge. So the longer the days are, the more knowledge we're getting, even though the teachers are leaving. Making toilets more accessible. For what I've seen in my school, my teachers have been making new rules saying you are not allowed to use the toilets after break. Some students may not get a chance to go to the toilet, which is a shame. And when it's in lesson time, when they're not allowed to go, they can't go. They'd have to wait 2 hours till lunch, which I feel like is unfair. And since they are really, I think personally that the teachers should consider the students' needs. If they don't consider those said needs, that the school's performance, like I said earlier, won't increase in great value. One more day off school. In a whole week, there's 7 days, correct? 4 of those days are school. Monday, Tuesday, wait, sorry, 5 of those days in a week are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we've only got 3 days off. Sorry, 2 days off. 2 days off, and we've got 5 days of learning. 2 days. Can you imagine each time 5 days of non-stop work and only 2 days break? It's putting, and me being in year 10, it's putting way more pressure on not only me, but other year 10s that are soon going to be year 11s and next generation hardworking adults to help create a better future for everyone who's currently here and in the world. I feel like we should take Friday off. 1 extra day of the whole week will help the student relax from all the pressure of work. And if you've seen in multiple science records, the more pressure someone has, the less they express themselves in work. Lack of performance.
I think we need to clap for him. We do. And this is why I look at every young person and I think you've got such a voice and you guys need to speak up and share your voice. There's so many of you in this room that have got so many opinions on things, but we need to really voice them. And I love what you did because, you know, unfortunately, he's been a victim of being in a school where they've been on strike for the last couple of weeks. So it means that the students haven't been in to get educated. Months, so they've not been able to get good education in Rochdale because teachers have been on strike, you know, so you can understand where he's coming from. That's why the passion is there, because he really cares about his education that unfortunately he's not been getting. So the final one is building positive social media networks, and I'll let you finish up on this one.
Thank you. Building positive social media networks. There's good social media network events and bad social media network events. Those events are based on the user's intentions, and those intentions could either be good and could either be bad. 50-50, you may say. Social media platforms like YouTube, where you can stream, show your videos, show your creativity in short versions, post videos, so on. While in WhatsApp and many more, WhatsApp, you can call people. The calls are encrypted, meaning no one can interfere with any important calls, whether it's work, school, projects, etc. Snapchat, you can talk to your friends, send funny pictures, memes, to make your friends laugh, to celebrate last moments, like graduation day, leaving high school, leaving primary to move up to high school, nursery, anything, any happy moments. TikTok. Now, TikTok is a hard one to discuss. TikTok can give you false information and can lead you into situations that should have never happened in the first place. But now TikTok has made TikTok education to move themselves away from those said misleading events. TikTok has made TikTok education to help students with their work, and all it takes is one picture. And finally, Instagram and X. X, formerly known as Twitter, until An entrepreneur, Elon Musk, decided to buy it and rename it as X. X, Twitter. Whatever the name is, it's still the same. You can still read posts, comment, like, dislike, same thing. But here's the thing. There are good comments and bad comments. Bad comments can change a person's view on the world. And I mean the whole world. One comment is all it takes to mess up someone's day. And if you mess up someone's day, that could very infect their whole lives, their whole journey ahead of them. This shows that social media can be used for the good of humanity while also be the downfall of it. This shows that social media can bend at you as a person will. Yourselves, your families, your minds, your emotions. Anything that's connected to you can be bent by social media. 50-50, like I said earlier. It all depends on the user's intentions. And unfortunately, some intentions going on in the world so far are not so good. They're negative. Negative of the social media. Sorry, let me restart. What would stop people from accessing social media? Some ways that you could stop people from accessing social media. Cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity has always been there. Stopping cyberbullying, body shaming, knowledge about parents, family history, etc. Then we've got parents. Now, parents, they would do anything to protect their child from the world's harm. And the world, as today, it's a very dangerous place with all the wars going on. And unfortunately, we as a whole group have to pay the consequences for our own actions. Age restrictions. Now, age restrictions are very important. And since they're important, they can also control, or should I say, interpret what links, what ideas, what projects, anything you are willing to search up. Now, filtering softwares are used by administrators, moderators, and overseers. Filtering softwares are used to stop a person from going into the dark web, a place where no one should head to. The dark web is the most dangerous place on social media and into the internet. And finally, we have phishing. Phishing is so bad that it could really pretty much end someone's life. Phishing can expose secret knowledge about a person's life. Say, for example, one of your family members recently passed. Someone could use phishing to expose and destroy your life emotionally, mentally, and socially. Thank you. That's all I have.
Wow, I think you need to stand for him. Stand and give him a round of applause. This is what you call a standing ovation. When somebody is so passionate like that, they've done a good job. All right, well done. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think Juwan Kazim deserves another round of applause, as well as the rest of Group E, for their amazing questions on very contemporary issues in society. Thank you. Group Table F, which do you guys have anything? No. Oh, okay. Group F, come on. All right. If you just want to give the number and the topics of your interest.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about number 1, which was about educational challenges and who can young people talk to when they're having difficulty in an educational setting, and are there particular environments and spaces that make having these conversations easier. Do you want to start us off with what you were talking about at school, what you think would be helpful? Yeah.
So we believe that independent workers should be introduced at schools, which would help with keeping confidentiality in those close communities, because most colleges are a community of their own. So if you were to go to someone in a pastoral team or one of your teachers and trust them with something personal, you can't really ensure that they will keep that to themselves, and it might go to like the whole administration or reach someone you don't really want to have knowing what you're going through. So by keeping this matter in a more confidential setting and a more unofficial setting as well, because we believe that these conversations would be a lot more comfortable to have in non-office or like more unofficial, less clinical spaces and environments, because that makes it makes it a lot easier to open up to somebody, and it also doesn't really create that sense of worry or that sense of officiality. Is that a word? It is now. So the officiality that you have to maybe maintain just because the vibe of where you currently are, quote unquote, requires. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we talked a lot about training for teachers to help them to be able to better deal with things. Larger pastoral teams, there was a conversation around having like a few members of staff that were kind of, those were the people that you would go to, and actually if there's only 3 in a whole school, that's too much for them to hold. And we needed more trusted adults in those spaces. We talked about therapists in school and the benefits of that, but also that it'd be great to have more diversity represented within therapists. You know, we would love to have more male therapists and people from global majority backgrounds. And we also talked about peer support groups, how sometimes actually the best thing is leaning on each other and understanding that other people are going through those things. Then we also were asked to look at building positive social networks. So we talked about what current social networks were. And young people identified this as a place that they did a lot of socialising, youth groups, football, our group Change Ambassadors at 42nd Street, family, close friends, and also about online social networks. And we've got quite a few young people using LinkedIn, which I thought was quite exciting. Not something I would have expected. Yeah, I think that was everything. Is there anything I've missed? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Can I just say how impressive it was for everyone to be able to come up and speak about that? I know it's very difficult to be able to come up in front of a big audience and talk about these issues that you're passionate about, but generally every single one of you that stood up and spoke about the things that you're interested in, very well done, because that's really impressive. It's tough to do that. So now that we've managed to hear all of those great ideas, we're moving straight into our guest speaker segment.
When we looked at the feedback, one theme came up at almost every single table: mental health. Take care of our minds is just as important as taking care of our bodies, but it's a topic that still feels tough to talk about.
To help us dive deeper into this, we're joined by an absolute expert in the field, Dr. Roshelle Ramkisson. She's a highly respected consultant child and adolescent psychiatrist and prominent clinical researcher at the University of Manchester. She has dedicated her career to transforming youth healthcare, working tirelessly on the front line to support young people's emotional well-being and break the stigma surrounding mental health.
So I think I have a very, you had a tough act to follow this morning. I've got it much harder, I have to say, from having heard the voice of, people around the room. I think a lot of what I'm going to tell you, you already know. And in any line of expertise, it comes right from those children, young people, families, where day in and day out, who I see in clinic, I learn from more from their experiences than possibly any academic paper. But I'm going to probably just spend just a few minutes kind of putting it into just framing the context of where we are with child and adolescent mental health and thinking about hopefully challenges, but also some hope and direction as to where we could possibly go. And in that, perfect. Thank you. Who's doing the dancing thing again? Okay, perfect. So I'm just, it keeps dancing. Shall I just do what you did? Okay. So I guess I'm just going to quickly touch upon just some things of where we are now, thinking about alongside that, possibly some of the changes in society, diving a little deeper into that. Some big questions before us, things that we've already heard around the room, and then kind of just sharing a few examples around, just a few selected examples around some areas or particular areas to think about, and finally summing up with possibly some opportunities as to where we could go. I wonder if I do what you did, if you don't mind. Perfect. I don't mind the slides just be done. Slide. Much better. Okay. So in terms of, well, actually, I want to ask you to take a second, okay? Turn and look to somebody sitting on your right. Your left, turn your head the other way. Catch somebody behind you. If you're not behind you, somebody nearest behind you, or in front, and in front. Include yourself in that. That's 5. 1 in 5 children and young people have a probable mental health disorder. That's what we know. That's how common it is. And that's increased over the years from 1 in 8. That's about 4 to 6 children in a class who have a probable mental health disorder. Currently in England, 8% of the population are accessing child and adolescent mental health services. That's just under 1 million currently open, but there are also so many waiting to access mental health services. Just in our local Greater Manchester area, possibly in the year of 24-25, 63,000 referrals to services is hard to try and comprehend. And I think some things need to happen upstream a lot earlier before they actually need secondary care mental health services. And those are big figures to contend with. And that has its impact on many ways. Our pre-pandemic figures have doubled in terms of referral to services, and it's not falling. It's showing that that's probably the direction of travel. That's sort of where we are now. Taking that into thinking a little further around some of the societal changes, not all. These were just a few I just wanted to touch upon. We've already covered some of the aspects of technology. I'm not going to, I could not articulate it better than some of the voices that we've heard now about social media, technology. It's not all bad, but it's how we start to think about it in our day-to-day lives. The economy, cost of living, thinking about families moving away from each other. There isn't the same kind of family structures, the same nuclear traditional families, maybe having a grandparent down the road to support if someone's poorly. Though all of those things have shifted, and that all has an impact. Plus for me, I'm trying to think just the pace and the expectations of daily life, how quickly we have so many different things to contend to, and the expectations we have of others that cause frustration, and of ourselves that leads to this growing disappointment and sense of it. So there are some bigger influences that are kind of shaping how we feel, how we think, and how that impacts on what we do. So I'm going to move on to something in terms of just questions before us. And I just picked a few questions at the moment that are kind of currently before us. In my own profession, sometimes we get asked, are psychiatrists social policemen? I think it's a bigger community aspect. I am pleased to see that there is a lot of reform and change in the use of some of our use with the Mental Health Act, some of the changes and the checks that are coming in. I embrace that. I think that's really positive. I think there's a lot more to be done. I think there are differences in, even ethnic differences in our use of the Mental Health Act. As I said, I'm not going to touch upon it because you heard lots of voices, but I know that you'd asked me about social media this morning, some of the young people, and absolutely, I do wonder, is social media making us antisocial? Is it? Don't know. These aren't questions I particularly have the full answer to, but these are definitely questions. Do we all self-harm? Self-harm is a big topic. Thinking about those who absolutely need to access services, but in part of our day-to-day life, are we drinking too much coffee, binge watching too many videos? Do we do some elements of that in our life? And what is driving that? But also encouraging those who do feel like they need to turn to self-harm in some ways, because it's a way of trying to kind of work through their emotions, getting access to support. But most importantly, one of the biggest questions I'm still trying to contend with is, are we responsible for our own behaviors? Don't know. There's something about the individual, your society around you, but there are those who also have intrinsic difficulties that impact on their behaviors. So don't necessarily know if we actually, whether we can answer these, but these are some of the questions that I often contend with. So I'm just going to pick two selected examples very quickly, mindful of time. Two big ones. Emotional disorders who, as I said, I'm a psychiatrist, I work clinically, but I have this big a thought about emotional disorders. Day to day, we all have life experiences, things that we go through, and experience sometimes distress as a result of it. I wonder whether in language, the use of the words depression, anxiety, sometimes may make us start to shift how those life experiences may lead us onto thinking of, actually, do I need mental health support? Yes. But does that necessarily mean a referral to the hospital? It isn't always clinical depression, and I was talking about this earlier on today, about sometimes our use of language, the way we think about some of those experiences, that early support, before it leads us to having an impact on us in so many ways, that then it may become a serious and a mental illness. And where are those opportunities? This is one of those wonderful days where I think the opportunities sometimes present much earlier on, how we can reach people. I love the fact that on my table, we were talking about quizzes, schools, just quizzes in classrooms to help people identify, actually, is this something I'm struggling with? How can we start to identify that at an earlier stage in schools and have those conversations in safe spaces? Or relatable stories came from us about how people can relate, learn from peers, how they work through those relatable stories in videos that have been slightly vetted to make sure they are thinking about how they're communicating it, but absolutely. The second one I'm going to quickly touch upon is neurodiversity. There is a lot of conversations happening up and down the country. The government has commissioned a review on the rates of number of people waiting for neurodiversity assessments to try and understand that. There are about 250, just under 250,000 adults waiting for assessment and understanding that. Assessments for diagnosis, is that the right way? Rather than something I'm particularly interested about is, do people always just need a stamp or a diagnosis, or can we think about individuals' needs and intervene earlier? And a beautiful example of that came from colleagues who I work with at the hospital called Riding the Rapids, a community-based, they're training people up and down the country for parents to support those with autism and severe learning disabilities much early on. They have, support for 0 to 3, 2 to 6, and actually empowering parents, even without a diagnosis, to respond to working with their children rather than waiting much down the line years for an assessment and diagnosis. And I think we need to start shifting that much earlier, much up, further upstream. Along with that, let me see where I'm at. I just want to touch upon very quickly that it's not all about challenge. There's some just 2 selected pieces of work that I'm involved with in research. One using shared data environments. So what does that mean? And using data that's pseudo-anonymized, trying to map out for children, not just health, but layering that on with what we know from education, social care, using that to try and identify where we need to intervene, reach people sooner. That is definitely something that is much needed. And I do think there is lots of opportunity, because if somebody is struggling with their mental health, it's not just from our hospital records or things that we can find out. We know it impacts on individuals in schools, in communities, and how we can use data differently. The second thing I want to talk about is a lot in mental health. We talk about, therapy, talking therapies. It was lovely to talk to my colleague this morning in 42nd Street, Katie, about something I'm particularly interested in, is using and actually now investigating it through the lens of research to give it that evidence-based rigor around creative therapies. Use of dance, movement, not just the visual arts, but creative therapies in a more structured way in services for children and adolescents accessing services to benefit from that. Because I don't think it's all about talking. Language is very heavy, and I think people can express themselves differently, safely. So those are just 2 selected examples. And that's the work that I'm working with colleagues with, using Arts for the Blues and translating that for children. Ooh, sorry. So to conclude, I just have a few take-home points. We're sort of at the stage now in life where there is all this evolution. Things have slowly moved on. We can learn from that. But I do think we're almost at a point of revolution where the conversations need to be looked at slightly differently, whether about technology, empowering people, and bringing that to the forefront. But in that, something I really am passionate about is co-design and co-production. Not done to, but actually it has to be done with and led by those who absolutely need to benefit from it. And the last bit is that we will be, there's ample tools around. How we choose to use it is exactly that. Our choice, that, whether it's even AI or social media, that it doesn't control us, we bring back that control and use that as a tool to enable, to empower, and to go. So whilst there is a lot on before us to try and navigate, I do think there's a lot of hope, and those conversations need to keep happening. So thank you very much. Look forward to having further conversations.
Damian Dallimore, is that it? Yeah. Is the director of the Greater Manchester Violence Reduction Unit and a senior leader within the GMCA, Greater Manchester City area. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's the GMCA Safer and Stronger Communities Directorate. He is a pioneering advocate for community safety who has spent decades tackling the root causes of crime and building collaborative, supportive frameworks to ensure young people can thrive safely.
There we are.
Give a big, massive, warm welcome to Damian Dallimore.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. And it was my fault for having a daft name. Should have, wasn't trying to trip you up there. Look, we've heard so much today already. I'm not going to repeat anything that others have said. But I do want to just take this opportunity to thank everybody for your input. Everything that we do in the Violence Reduction Unit is community-led. And what that means is that I cannot, and I'm not, an expert on what each of your respective communities wants, needs, desires, and therefore it's only by having events like this where I listen, mainly, that's my job, and understand what you think are the key priorities that we're ever going to really change things in Greater Manchester. My boss, Andy Burnham, does anybody know Andy? Hands up if you know Andy Burnham. He's a bit busy today because he's out campaigning because he wants to be the MP for Makerfield and go back to Westminster. But at the moment, he's still the Mayor of Greater Manchester. And I think if Andy were here today, first of all, he'd be thrilled to meet so many really inspirational young people. But he would talk about his ambitions for Greater Manchester, which are absolutely rooted in young people, families, communities thriving and achieving all that they want to in life. So whatever your ambition is, wherever you want to be, Andy's main job is to unlock that opportunity and provide you with those pathways to achieve. And my role as part of that is to keep you safe as you do that. Because nobody can achieve what they want to if they don't feel safe. We talked about public transport before. If you're going to college, getting a job, you need to feel safe on the tram, on the bus, or travelling home after a night out in Manchester. So safety and security is obviously a really, really fundamental part of what we want to achieve in Greater Manchester. My team, the Violence Reduction Unit, is made up of lots of experts from education, from health, from the voluntary sector, youth justice, probation, etc. And we all come together collectively to put in place activities, strategies, interventions to help communities feel safer. But as I said, at the very heart of it is this idea that we are community-led, that we listen, that we engage, and really importantly, that we co-design. So we work with you to design what those priorities and that investment should look like. Last year, we worked with 50,000 children and young people across Greater Manchester. 50,000. That's a huge number. I want to work with even more this year. That's the challenge, is that we keep growing and we keep doing our thing with children and young people all over Greater Manchester. And 3/4 of my budget goes into interventions, things for young people to do, whether it be sports, the arts, drama, mentoring for those that need it, role models, support in school, support in getting skills and training and jobs. To me, all of those things are a rich picture of what it means to be happy and to thrive and to exist in a successful city region like ours. And you're dead lucky here because you've got facilities like this, you've got people like Kimoy and Irfan who do wonderful work on a day-to-day basis about, really trying to inspire that next generation to be the next leaders, to be the next politicians, to be the next chief executives, to be running Greater Manchester, to enable it to keep growing and evolving and succeeding. And that's fundamental to everything that we do, is having true role models in our communities to help young people to thrive and achieve. I work with a number of organisations around here. The Powerhouse is just one of them. Do any of you know Hideaway, just round the corner? Do a lot of work with Hideaway. The Peace Together Alliance, Odd Arts, who do brilliant work around drama, the Rio Ferdinand Foundation, Fathers Against Violence. We've got a range of really key partners rooted in the community to do good stuff. And I come here today with really good news, which is that we've just agreed to invest another £125,000 into this community. So that's Moss Side and Hume. Again, and all of that money will go into those charities, those organisations that are rooted in this community that are doing brilliant work. But it's for you to decide exactly how that money's spent. So I've taken away today some brilliant ideas from our table, from other tables. I'm going to tell my boss that we're doing a 4-day working week from now on. So when I don't turn up on Friday, don't blame me, blame you. These are the ideas that we need to make our society work and to grow and to thrive. And therefore, You tell us how you want to spend that £125,000. I want to know today and going forward what's going to make a difference for you in this community. So you'll notice I've spoke hardly at all about violence and knife crime. And that's because I spend most of my time talking about how we enable young people to achieve and to thrive. And that, to me, is how you tackle those root causes of violence. Not by constantly talking about problems, but talking about solutions and trying to invest in young people and communities in a way that we know will help them to achieve. And I'll end with this, because what I've heard today is that we need more support around mental health. I've heard that we need really good schools that are not on strike, that are actually there to serve our communities and to help young people to achieve. I've heard those two things really clearly. I've heard a bit about how we need our policing to work for our communities, that we want the police officers to be visible, but we want them to be on our side. When we need them, of course, they'll be there, but actually they're part of the community too. So we need that really strongly. And I think more youth provision came up really, really strongly. Those four things, right? So I'm going to take those away. I might not be able to speak to the mayor this week, as I said, he's a bit busy, but I will speak to my colleagues and make sure that those things are heard. Before I leave here today, in about an hour or whatever, tell me, come and find me and tell me if I've got that wrong, or I've missed something, or you want something invested in your community that nobody's spoken about today. This is your chance to influence that, and take that opportunity while you've got it. It was so lovely to meet you all. It's been an absolute privilege to spend the afternoon with you, and take care and all the best. And I look forward to seeing what you all achieve in the future. Thank you.
Absolutely, some great insights from Damian there, and definitely do take him up on that offer of chasing up things you want to have in the community. I mean, 125,000, there's a lot that can be done with that money. So please go speak to him if you have anything else you want to add.
Now we are moving on to one of the most anticipated segments of this entire afternoon. We've heard from leaders, we've heard from great innovators in our fields, but right now, it's now time for us to hear from the real driving force of this conference and this movement.
So here we're going to have our youth panel. So this is a space where we can bring together an incredible group of young people, some young change makers who are out there right now, breaking cycles, overcoming barriers, and making a difference in Manchester.
My name is Gianna, I'm 16, and I think one of the really big problems is knife crime and how to deter young boys and young girls away from that. So I think a really good solution would be for just more education on the matter as a whole, and to teach parents how to deter their kids away from it and choose other paths that are actually good for them.
Hi, my name's Shalike. I'm 16, and my one would be gangs, and how a lot of young kids and young children are actually brought into gangs, and joint enterprise and peer pressure. All these things are bad and have involvements, and I think my solution would be to educate children to obviously choose their friends wisely and pick what they think's best.
Hello, everybody. I'm sure you've seen me introduce myself earlier, but if not, my name is Juwan Kazim. I'm 15. I'm a student at St. Cuthbert's, and the problem I think is happening in my community is there's a lack of knowledge given to students. As you may have been aware, a school called St. Cuthbert's Roman Catholic High School has been constantly been going on strike. The problem, the root cause, is apparently students attacking teachers. And I may think it may sound shocking to see students attack teachers. Students are supposed to learn from the teachers, absorb the knowledge given to them, not reject the knowledge. Because in this world, knowledge is key and power. For my solution towards this is, when there is a supply, there should there should be work given from the teachers who are on strike. And without that work from the proper teacher who's been through more experience in said subject, the student will learn more. If not, the student will learn less. There will be more, they'll have more stress and be less productive. In this world, I'm pretty sure none of you here would want that for your future kid. Thank you for your time.
My name's Hafsa. I'm an artist from Burnage, and I'm with 42nd Street as one of their change ambassadors. One of the issues I'm passionate about is how difficult it is for neurodivergent and mentally ill youth to break into the adult world. And what I mean by the adult world is jobs and housing mainly, and how difficult it is to take alternate routes in life towards those things. And I'm interested in working with local authorities to co-produce models to help get young adults into alternative jobs, education, and housing.
Hi, my name is Abbas and I'm 16, and I'm just talking about how mental health and how people don't express their feelings enough and don't have a voice to obviously talk about how they're feeling and how they are coping with it.
Hi, my name is Maisha and I'm 16 and live in Moss Side. I think that people should have to break the stereotype barriers towards mental health and feel free to talk about however they're feeling to someone they trust.
All right, I'll repeat. So like Damian said before, we're very thank you so much for gifting so much money to the community. And we've also got the 20 million for Moss Side and Wally Range. What do you think would be the top priorities if we're to get some of that money? What would you want us to spend it on for youth? What would be some of the ideas? Could be anybody that answers.
I personally think we should focus on society and knowledge. Education, to be exact. With all this money, we can boost children's performance, their productive skills. This world is slowly crumbling due to the lack of knowledge, the lack of peace. The money given to us can change the whole future for our own desires. And our desires should be based on good morals and intentions. We were born with a conscience, the knowledge to know what's right and what's wrong. Society, as you sure are aware, some of the people here right now think with me, and those who spoke earlier have been talking about other situations, more specifically knife crimes. Knife crimes have been going on for years and years and years, and have not found a resolution yet. I personally think with the money that has been given to Powerhouse and from the community as a whole should be invested in situations related to knife crimes and the lack of educations. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
I think that some of the money should go to places like Powerhouse and other youth groups, so we can give children like places to go, and because lots of children, they'll never get a chance to get out of Manchester or go to a different country because of like poverty and things like that. And also it's to give kids things to do, because one of the leading causes of crime is boredom. So I think if kids get the opportunity to see different things that they've never seen before and go to different places, I think it will help them a lot.
I really agree with that point about boredom, and I live in Burnage, so I can only speak on Burnage, but it is quite a small area in comparison to our neighbours, Didsbury and Levenshulme. And I find that because we're so small, we sort of fall to the wayside and get overlooked, and there ends up being a lack of youth services specific to Burnage.
Hello again, my name's Juan. I'm pretty sure you've already heard me speak about knife crimes. No end of that and no resolution. There's not just one situation we're dealing with. We're dealing with numerous amounts each day, each time, and so on. One of the situations I'm currently dealing with in my school is lack of knowledge, lesser teachers, and students disobeying the rules, losing the knowledge, their conscience, their moralities of what's right and wrong, good and evil, justice and punishment. And with them losing all of that and the knowledge that their teachers are constantly trying to give them about the world, about work, about what it's like to be an adult. I personally think there should be a revolution to show kids the world is not just fun and games. It's way more serious the more you grow up and the more your world expands. Thank you. That's all I have.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Sorry. Does anyone else have any comments or about these questions? Feel free to raise your hand and we will bring the microphone. Oh, yeah, you young man? Yeah. Do you want to ask a question? Yeah, okay. Oh, sorry.
Hello, I'm Touche because I love my mommy and my daddy. Every time when I go to 5 years old, I'm going to turn to 6 years old. And I'm going to go to New Jersey tomorrow. Today, I'm learning A to Z. Forever. Amen.
Thank you. Yes, you've got one too?
I've got a contribution here to what my brother there said, that the money for the Pride in Place for this area, I think they should think of more youth clubs, so this can support young people, so they can engage in so many youth activities, and this can support them in not thinking of, joining any gang or being in any violence situation. So that's my thought. Thank you.
Anyone? It's you, young. Here you go.
Hello, my name is Alex Omani. I'm going to talk about cyberbullying. First, every time I would go online, I always see my favorite influencers. Every time I read...
Yeah, it's on, it's on.
Every time I read bad comments, it makes me wonder if they're trying to make a person's life even worse than before. Because you never know what a person's going through sometimes. Sometimes you think, oh, those comments won't hurt them when they're just posting their own trends each day or each week, a month or a year. But deep down, you don't even care about what you're doing. You just do it for fun, but you don't even know how it's going to affect them. That's all I have to say.
Does anyone else want to add anything? You, yes.
I have a question for our panel, actually. So, in Manchester, we live in a very diverse community, different cultures. Culture came up as one of the areas from one of the tables. How can we help children and young people to kind of almost connect and find their identity, whether it's cultural or to their community, whilst also having their identity as an individual?
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was doing. Sorry, I got.
To answer that question about culture, you informed us that Manchester has a variety of cultures. I personally think that each variety should experience a different culture to further expand their horizon of their knowledge and their viewpoint of the whole world. And the more they learn, the more they can achieve, grow, accomplish. This is what humanity strives for. We should learn from our mistakes. We should learn from our past troubles. We should learn from every situation that's been brought upon us, whether it's from the past or from our current actions. Thank you. That's all I have.
To answer that question, I would say that everyone should learn their own history, and each country's history and culture should be taught, maybe not in school, but everyone can do their own research on it. So even if they don't live there or they've never been there before, they can still connect to their own culture. And it's very important to know everyone else is different but the same, if that makes sense.
Hi, I would like to say that I feel like more people should go out and speak to a lot of other people, especially in Manchester, about their culture and where they're from. And I feel like that should be a big topic because not much people know about their history and what has happened in the past. And I feel like it's really important to educate people on the truth behind who they really are.
It's an interesting question because I think at the moment the responsibility for cultural education falls on the community. But I also think that there's no room for cultural pride in this country because Black and brown Britons are so mistreated by the media. And then, you know, you have the media inciting race riots and you have the government endorsing it. So I don't think there's any room for cultural pride until you know, Black and brown Britons get justice for things that the media incites in this country.
There's some people over there who want to add some comments.
We'll let the master.
Oh yes, add some yeah. Does anyone else on the panel want to add anything, or yeah? Okay. So here you go. Sorry for the wait.
Hello, everyone. What I want to say is not actually a question, it's just a contribution to a few things I have in mind personally, since they've spoken to all of us and said if we have any contributions to what could be done with the money, the grant that's been given to the community. For me as a person, I'm an actor, and to be honest, I enjoy film and theatre. So just recently I started getting into Shakespeare and everything. One of the things I've noticed about the community is that there's been a lot of reduction in the amount of theatre production that goes around the community, and I feel like that should be a part of every single community in every single place. Saying like, say there's a place where people from more side could go to showcase their ideas, and then you can come watch. Even say your neighbor has an idea for a play, and then he goes down to the theatre just down the street, and then when something is done there, everyone, the whole community can come watch. That could be a way to get to know every single person better. It could also prevent the youth from going into gangs and rivalry and stuff like that. So another thing I would like to speak about is science as well. For me, I'm a person, before I went into acting and the movie industry and everything, I actually fancied creating different gadgets, to help humanity. And when I first started, I had ideas I wanted to turn into reality. I wrote them down, but the thing was that I didn't have the funding to have to take care of those things, because they were expensive, and I spoke to my parents about it, but apparently those were not their priorities. They had other priorities to handle. So I would say so many of us here out here has ideas they want to turn into gadgets, they want to turn into something that can better this community, but we have no one to actually speak about it. There may be things, let's say like science projects going on around Manchester, but we don't necessarily know about it because they're not reaching us as a person, as a community. So I feel like something like that should be established. And then finally, the last thing I would like to speak about is religion. And the fact that, for me, I'm a Christian, and I've seen a lot of things happen around social media where people go to share their faith around the community, and then they are stopped by the police, and that's something that's not actually good, because it's the freedom of religion. I feel like that should be shared among every single person. But whether you're Muslim or Christian or anybody, you should have the freedom to be able to go out and preach the gospel, or preach your faith to the whole community and let the whole world hear about that. So yeah, the fact that we're having oppositions from the police and from people stopping us from doing that should not be the case, since it's a free world, so we should have the freedom to do things like that. Thank you.
Yeah, so do you want to ask the... Yeah.
Can everybody hear me? Right. So there's like a question I have about like funding and all. Yeah, so outside of the Powerhouse, there's a pretty big park, and there's a fenced-off section of the park which really hasn't been used for anything. If you were able to build anything on that patch of land, what would you like there?
I'd personally remove the fence and add a youth center, like what the lady said over there about youth centers. Youth centers are exactly what it sounds, to help the young explore, increase their knowledge, and make a brighter future. If I were to build something there, I'd put a youth center. Youth centers, there should be youth centers in every community. Youth centers help young people, those who may not have the money, the time to afford knowledge. Youth centers can deal with that problem. They can give you knowledge without those expenses. Youth centers are like a guiding light for young people. And if there's no light, there's no way. Youth centers are the anchors to today's children, to today's future generations and what's to come. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
If I was to build something there, I would build like a little facility where children can get like private tutoring for like maths and English and science, because I think getting your English and maths is really, really important. Like, it helps prepare you for later life and you use it with everything. So I think getting outside help for it outside of school would be really, really helpful. And lots of children don't have the opportunity to get that because it is quite expensive. So I would make it free for children to do that.
Any comments? Raise your hand if you want to add a comment.
I think that's all from our panelists today. So could we give them a very big round of applause, please? Do you guys want to return to your seats?
We've started today with a goal to create a space where young people who have faced challenges or felt unheard could finally have a platform. Looking around this room, seeing the deep conversations at the round tables and the support shown at our youth panel, we definitely did that.
We hope you leave today feeling a little less alone, a little more inspired, and a lot more confident in your potential. Never let anyone tell you that your voice doesn't matter.
A huge thank you to everyone who made today possible, our organisers, our community leaders, and every single one of you. Let's keep walking this journey together. Thank you, and take care of yourselves, you absolute legends.
Thank you.
Yes, sorry, nearly forgot. If anyone has any feedback on how we could improve these events in the future, please speak now. Does anyone have anything they want to add?
Sorry, this is just a quick one, but to our Rochdale group as well, We're based here at the Powerhouse, so we'd love for you guys to come down and visit our youth club. Yeah, we're here every Friday, 6 till 9. So it'd be great to see new faces and come down and engage with some of the things that we do here. And for those that are new, we invite you guys, Damian and others as well, we invite you to come down and see the powerful work that we do here. We have a lot of young people that come on a Friday night session and they take part in so many different activities. On the 17th of July is our end of term celebrations. We do one every term, and it'd be great to see people come along and support that. But I just wanted to say welcome to the Powerhouse, and hopefully you guys can come and see us in the future.
Hi everyone, my name is Isha. I'm one of the counsellors on my side, and it is really lovely to be here today. Thank you so much, and welcome to my side first of all. It may be your first time visiting the area as well, and welcome to Powerhouse. This is really our energy hub for all the young people. You know, as Kimo spoke as well, he does these youth sessions in Powerhouse every week, and there's lots of great attendance. We have so many amazing young people from our side who have, we have such rich cultural history as well that Mosside's foundations have been built upon, and it's really lovely to welcome you all today in Mosside as well. So thank you so much for coming down. Thank you for all the value that you've added to the event today. Thank you to everyone who's participated and contributed as well. And of course, as counsellors, we are here to support you at every step as well. We'd be very happy to welcome you again and again to our very own centre in Mosside, and anything we can do for you, for any young people, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much once again.
So, do you wanted to come in, my darling? So do you wanted to say something? Come.
I'm so sorry if I'm wasting any of your final moments, but I do want to add something for any future events. I personally think we should add medals of honors to congratulate those who have the courage, the commitment to express themselves, to tell everyone here how they feel about their community and what they think that could help. Thank you, that is all.
Thank you. Any more feedback from anyone? No? Yeah? Come. It's amazing to see how our young people are so confident. They want to come to the front and say something. Thank you.
This is about bullying. Bullying is bad for treating the planet being bad, and it's hurting other people's feelings. So do not bully.
So much. Wow, what a beautiful message to end our conversations and our youth conference. So we are bringing the conference to a close, and I really appreciate Afzal Khan MP was here earlier on, and we have some fantastic speakers, and thank you to all of you for being here. A lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of statistics, and thank you. And I'm really pleased that our councillor from this area has joined us as well. And I just wanted to once again thank all the organization who took part. And Kimo, thank you. We have to change the date because of you, haven't we? So we were initially thinking of 6th of June, but then Kimo wasn't available, so we changed the date. And we met Irfan and Mary and the others, and of course, KT. And thank you so much to all the organization who took part. I also want to give a special thanks to our wonderful host. Aren't they amazing? Scott and Alex. Can I ask them to come? There is Scott. So I just wanted, it's missing, isn't it? They were amazing. Thank you so much. So confident. And you really led the conference really well. And they are from 42nd Street. And keep going. And I'm sure when we organize that final conference, the report event at the Parliament, please bring them, KT. So I'm going to send a special invitation to both of them as well, yeah? Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I also want to thank a couple of more people. So we have Anna here, so who have been very busy, very quietly drawing some pictures, and she is producing that visual representation of the event. So I met her as a charity. We also work with King's College London, and we are part of a dementia research project with King's College, and that's where I met Anna. And just, if you don't mind standing in place here. So give her a round of applause, please. Do you want to quickly show some of the work you have been doing this afternoon? And say a few words about
It's been really exciting to be here and hear from so many young people about such important topics. So yeah, I'm really grateful for this opportunity and to be able to visualize that and hopefully create some lasting memories of this event. So yeah. Stuff might be a little bit sketchy. So the kind of stuff I've been doing is listening to group discussions and important quotes that you guys have been saying and formatting them into a more visual way that's easy for people to understand that haven't been there. It's quite sketchy at times, but it's, yeah, a bit like this. And I've really enjoyed listening to the speakers that have been coming up and creating sketches of them like this, which I will finish up on my iPad later.
Since we are going to be publishing a book from these conferences, after the 5 conferences, and Anna's some pictures will be there in that final published book. Also wanted to finally thank, I know you have heard from Dr. Roshelle, and so yesterday I had a message from Dr. Roshelle, and she mentioned, speaking to one of my neighbors, and she runs a bakery, cake shop, and her name is Sophia Sheikh, and she sent some cakes for all of us to share, and the cakes you are all eating from Sophia Sheikh's cake shop, and she has sent it to us for free. So thank you to Sophia for providing that as well. So thank you, really appreciate it. So I just wanted to recognize that contribution and the support. And once again, really appreciate all of you being here, and we will keep connected, and you will let you know when the report of this conference will be published. It will be in our website, and I'm going to send that report to all of you by email, and please share with the wonderful young people we had this afternoon. And we just wanted to bring this event to a close and have a safe journey home, wherever you are traveling to. We have to go back to London tonight. So, but then really appreciate everything that you have been doing. And we also have one of my colleagues from Croydon, Councillor Shervan Chowdhury. He's been a councillor in my ward for a number of years. He was the mayor of Croydon. That's why he has that badge. And really appreciate, Shervan, you came along with the chair and myself and my husband. I can't forget my husband. So thank you for being here. Also want to thank my friend Rose. Rose, say hello. She's our family friend who lives in Manchester. So we do come to visit Manchester because we come and see her now and then. But then that's the reason I was here a couple of weeks ago, and we visited Powerhouse and met Irfan, and just wanted to thank her for all her support. She's left her children with her husband, and he is here. Anyone else I missed here? I don't think I have. And thank you to each and every one of you for the contribution and the support. You're all been amazing, and have a safe journey home. Thank you.